welcome again to this
Hi,
Wednesday
guys.
night table talk, number 34.
34.
I'm one of the things that I've mentioned to you before is I look forward to doing these together with you because some of these things that we're doing that we purpose to do, again, our purpose of coming every week with these table talks is simply to give hope for everyday life.
Yeah.
As we navigate through the things that are in front of us.
Yes.
And oftentimes the questions that we go through and the things we talk about were never answered to us. We're never talked about because some of these were no-go places and you don't question these things. And so what we wanted to do is create a platform in which we could talk about those issues and about real life stuff. And learning to navigate through because I know how hard it is to live with assumptions and live with expectations and things like that. And so a lot of times we were never taught how to process. A lot of times we were never taught how to navigate through stuff.
And how to be open and honest about stuff, right?
I think that's one of the most important things is open and honest, because if we're hiding behind masks and hiding behind an image and we want to look spiritual or we want to look put together, we're very not relatable at all.
That's right.
And so one of the things that we want to continue to hammer through is we want these sessions that we tape week in and week out to be something that you can relate to, that you can find hope, and to have tools that you can apply to your own life. Because as you navigate through stuff, as you go through the circumstances of life, we want you to be okay with struggle. We want you to be okay with making a mistake. We want you to understand that sometimes failing is the process of the next chapter in your life. And so these are always informative, always real. And we want to talk about the tough things and the struggles that we go through so that we can have hope. So welcome to our conversation. I have a coffee here. My wife has decided she was drinking water today.
I'm drinking water. It was a hot one.
It was a hot one today. Absolutely. 35 my thermometer read.
Yes.
And so it's supposed to be pretty hot all week as well, too. So, hey, we want to say thanks for joining us and taking the time to be a part of our discussion and a part of our interaction. And we love to hear from you. You can make some comments and things like that. We love to respond to those comments. And not only that, the one thing we want to highlight too is you have a topic. If you have something that's burning in your heart, something that's burning in your life, and you want us to talk about it, we would love the opportunity to engage in some of those things. And again, we've been saying all along that we may not have the answers, but we will provide the dialogue and we want to communicate through it. And because at the end of the day is hope.
Yes, and I think that's a huge thing of being willing to be open and honest. Let's have conversations.
Yes, I love that aspect.
Because then you're not alone in your struggle.
That's right.
Let's have conversations.
The journey is for us to discover and relate and learn from each other and how to go through the challenges, how to work through life when it seems to suck and when it seems just to spin. We want that dialogue. We want that discussion because I think it's important for us to talk about these things, and we're not afraid of topics. We are definitely not afraid of topics, and we're going to work through that. As I said before, we're number 34 Table Talk. And we just want to put in a plug in there. If you haven't listened to the previous table talks that we've had, we've talked about issues of perspective, we've talked about issues of relationships, how to overcome obstacles, working through shifting times, how to deal with our emotions. There's so many things that are on our website or on our YouTube channel, YouTube Estevan Church of God. Click on it. And click on the playlist. Hit the playlist and you can see Table Talk, and all 34 are going to be there, and you can scroll through that. And we would encourage you, if you have an opportunity to share our YouTube channel or our YouTube sessions that we do, just to give people opportunity to also connect and benefit from this stuff too as well. Something interesting we've had happen this week. We've been talking about the devotional book that I wrote and waiting for it to come. Well, guess what? It came. It arrived.
Yay!
And so we want to make that available to you as well. If you want a copy, we would love for you to just to connect with us, to send us a message saying, hey, we're interested in getting a book. We will connect you to the right thing. But one of the things that I want to mention, this book was birthed out of my own experience of wrestling through faith, wrestling through church system, wrestling through expectations as a pastor or expectations as just a person that was following Jesus, and some of the struggles that I worked through and some of the difficulties that I had and the questions that I asked, because there was a lot of things I learned that I was taught that formed an opinion about something, and as a result of that opinion shaped my life. And it often led me to dead-end experiences, and because I was discouraged and frustrated and disillusioned, I began this faith journey. And that's what we call it, faith reconstruction, because it is taking what I've learned and what I've been exposed to and walking through the events of life and help me shape who Jesus really is and how faith, true faith, can impact me. And part of that is embracing struggle. Part of that is embracing disappointment. Part of that is embracing my questions as I work through. And so we would love to send you a copy if you want.
It is amazing in our journey in the last few years how many people have come to us, messaged us, all of that, because they are having faith crisis.
Yes.
The system has failed them.
See, the thing is, when I would talk like that years ago, it said the system never fails. We have to just grin it and bear it. We need to have more faith in God. We need to pray more and all those different things.
And we just love having conversation because we have worked through a lot of that ourselves.
Absolutely, we have.
And found a freedom and stuff. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So today's topic, I'm looking forward to this tonight's topic. Yes. And if you're watching us live, that's awesome. But if you're going to watch us later on, we are blessed by that too, because we put up on our YouTube channel, we share it on Facebook, just to get it out there so people can take a listen and find hope in the midst of whatever they're going through. So we want to talk about, what are we going to talk about this morning or this tonight?
We want to talk about living in the moment, living in the present.
That is an important subject because I've wrestled with that my own life because I've been so influenced by my past that it's held me hostage from moving into my future. And I've also allowed what is yet coming and what may come affect me for living in the now.
And that's why we put that post up. There's now, and then there's an arrow to the past, there's an arrow to the future. But all we have actually is right now.
Yes.
We have this moment.
That's right. Absolutely, yeah.
To live. And so we want to talk about that.
We want to talk about living in the moment. Taking the opportunities we have right where we're at and making the most of it. It's interesting, there's a verse in Ephesians chapter 5 where the writer there, his name is Paul, who had a lot of really great things to say about life and perspective and how to navigate through life. And in Ephesians chapter 5 and around verse 15, he uses a statement that says, be very careful how you live. Now, oftentimes I would take that, this is a warning. This is, you better watch out. You better trim the line.
Stay in
but
the
rather,
lines.
it's interesting because he clarifies that. He modifies that statement. And so he says, be very careful how you live. Really, it's a positive statement because of what's coming next. And oftentimes, I don't know if you're like that, but we allow beginning statements to jolt us, and we don't go any further because we've been offended, or we're not sure where it's going, or we've been hurt by the past. But he gives a clarification. Be very careful how you live. Not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity.
Making the most of this moment.
It's almost like he's saying, be careful how you live, because you only live in that moment once. And so he encourages us to take the moments we have and make the most of them.
Yeah. And we want to talk a little bit about some of the things that rob us from the now moments.
Yes.
Hello? And so that has to do with some of our past and some of our future, but they can both rob us of our moments right now, living in the full moment right now.
You know, there's a lot of things that happen in our past. I mean, a lot of what shapes us, where we're heading, or what we've accomplished, where we're going, is because of what's happened in the past. And so the past is not always all bad. But what we're talking about is we can't move on from the past because patterns have been set, things have been taught, things have been learned. Our experiences are all in the past. And so one of the struggles oftentimes when we go through life, we allow the things, what's behind us, to influence our thinking. And as a result of that, we live in fear, or we live, you better careful, look what happened here, look what happened there. And I'm as guilty as them all, allowing the past to hinder my future. And many times I've said this, I wish this wouldn't have happened. I wish I wouldn't have been taught this. I wish I would have not been driven by this, because it's shaped patterns in my mind that's influenced my now, but it's also influenced my future. And as a result of being influenced by my past, influenced in how I see my future, it often holds me hostage that I can't enjoy the present. Because I'm always thinking, I'm always contemplating, I'm always here, I don't want to do this to happen here. And as a result of that, I rob myself of what I can do now. And I want to say this, because I'm a person of faith, I want to say this: Jesus is a God in the now.
Yes, he is.
He's God no matter what surrounds our life. But oftentimes we forget he's the God of now. I've used this statement many times where, man, life just goes so fast. And when we would go on holidays and spend time away from home, I could never enjoy it because I was always thinking that in 2 or 3 weeks we have to head back. And so I allowed my thinking about, okay, we got to get this done, we got to get this done, we got this, we got to see this, see this, see that, do that, accomplish that, because we're leaving in 2 weeks. And as a result of that, I'm not in the moment.
And it robs you.
I don't rest, I don't sleep, because I'm thinking, what more do we need to do? And so much of life can be like that. I totally get it, understand that. And what we want to do today is begin to talk about areas of how we can slow our life down and begin to enjoy the moments and appreciate what's happening right here in front of us.
I know a conversation we had a little bit before we came here, because sometimes we have regrets, and sometimes we actually hold bitterness from negative experiences in the past. And so when we hold on to those negative things, sorry to say, we can't enjoy the now. It robs us from enjoying the now if we're like, but this happened to me, but this... it robs us of living in the moment.
It does,
right now.
It does,
so there is a letting go that has to happen of that past.
Good or bad.
Good or bad. To live in the moment.
I like what someone says: we need to allow the past to be a springboard into our future. But we have to be careful we don't allow the springboard to push us beyond the now and worrying about the future. Today, I want to say this. Today's a gift. Yes, there's a lot of problems with today. There's a lot of problems with the now. There's situations and circumstances. But if we learn to slow our life down and take a breath, we can find the now moments that fill us with enough anticipation, enough joy, and enough fulfillment that it surpasses the things that aren't. It's a matter of us stopping and looking at those things. You know what? I just read just a little phrase from your book here, and it says this: I think most people find it natural to hang on to stuff. And I feel like even what we're talking about tonight is when we hang on to stuff, and it don't matter if it's material stuff, but a lot of our stuff that we hang on to inside is baggage.
inside. It's not always the external, but the external too. And so one of the huge things to begin to enjoy the now is to just bring it to simple.
Why is it so hard? Let's talk about that a little.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard to simplify our life?
Yeah.
I think we've got accustomed, and I think most of us can relate to that, is we get accustomed to busy. And busy defines success.
Yes.
Busy defines accomplishment.
Yes.
Busy defines fulfillment. Busy defines my value. Busy defines my worth. And
I love that you said that.
And the danger of that is we get so busy thinking this is it, but yet we're missing it. God's never intended for us to be busy and miss the present.
And I wrote I love that you said that, because I wrote this down. We're looking for that significance, that value. And sometimes we think oh, look at all I have. Oh, look what all I'm doing. And our plates are overflowing, right? And we think that significance, I want to change the world. And this hit me. Do you know the only way to change the world is living significantly right now? This is the only moment that's in front of you is what you have. That person that's in front of you, they are significant. What you're doing right now, do it with significant. That is how you begin to change the world. It's the moment right now. It's not all this. It's not that. It's really powerful, because we have placed our value, our success, our significant in having our plates overfull.
Right.
And we don't enjoy. There's not a fulfillment. We're lacking.
I think many times where we miss it, at least in my context, is because I think success is busy.
Yes.
And because I think value and worth is in what I accomplish. So I have to have lots on my plate, so there's lots to accomplish. And really, in retrospect, when you look at someone that's busy and involved in so many things, it's like, wow, they have influence. They just are in all kinds of stuff. But really, when you peel back the layers, what's driving that? What's driving us for that? I came to a place in my life not too long ago that if all I am is going to be as busy, then I'm going to run myself to the ground. And a lot of times the expectations of people can be that too. If you're in a leadership position, or if you're a supervisor or a manager, or things in your life, often that's the expectation. You have to have all the answers. You have to all have the influence. You have to have all the right things ticked off, all the right people motivated and worked through, and make sure everybody's in a raw moment, because they're waiting for the leader to lead. And I understand that, but really effective leaders know how to empower those around them so that they are doing everything. And that person isn't doing everything, but everybody's carrying the load. One of the things that I believe is so important is in a busy society, in a busy world, and all these other things, we have to learn to take responsibility for our own life. And if I guard myself from being busy, effective but not busy, I'm way more valuable to the people around me than I am busy.
Yes.
And I think many times the Bible also gives illustrations and teaches this principle that there can be such busyness. And sometimes Jesus speaks to those busy moments and those busy accomplishments and the busy targets and the busy things here. And he tells them, stop what you're doing. Take a breath.
Chill out.
Enjoy the moment.
Yes.
Enjoy the moment.
Yes.
And I didn't do that for years. Because my mindset was busy equals success. And busy equals burnout.
Yes.
I want to have my life steered in the right direction. I want to have the right things. I want to be occupied in the right space where I need to be. Because many times I can be sitting down, we can be having coffee, and you've often asked me, you're not here, are you? Because my head is spinning, and I'm thinking of this and thinking of that, and this needs to happen, and then I miss those moments. I want to learn, we have to learn to take responsibility for the moments we've been given. Because many times We want all this here.
Yes.
But we're missing the moments here
Yes.
that really make that count.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
I wrote down something Kerwin Ray said, and he says productivity, what we're looking for, boils down to one thing: focus. Focus right now. What you have in front of you. Give that your full attention. And that's not something we were born with, but like a muscle, it grows with practice. Mm-hmm. And so our focus, living in the now, might take some practice.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
That it's a muscle that has to grow. It's something that has to grow in us, because oftentimes we're looking for a quick fix. We live in a quick fix world. We have a pill for this, a pill for that. We have a book for this and a this for that. And we're looking for something quick when quick is not always good. Sometimes we have to learn to begin to create new patterns in our life. We have to decide. The decision is ours, what we do with our life. And so we have to decide how we're going to manage our life. And sometimes we have to have boundaries. Sometimes we have to have things in place where we learn to say no, where we learn to take things off, where we don't be everything for everyone. And sometimes they struggle with that. Let them struggle with it. Mm-hmm. I need to manage my life. Yes. And I need to point myself in the direction in the moments that I've been given to make the most of them. And so we have to learn to be managers of time, managements of situations.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Not that we have control of our now moments, but we do. In a sense, we have no control over what's happened in the past, and we have no control over what's happening in the future.
Yeah.
In a sense, so we why not? And I know this just sounds cliche, but what good is worrying about the future? What's it gonna help you? Nothing. Zero.
The same as worry about our past.
Yes. We can't do anything about that. We have now. Right. God's given us now, and He is present now.
If we see now as a gift.
Yes. If
we see it as a gift, not just something that unfolds.
Yeah.
But if we see it as a gift. So I sit down and have coffee with you. Mm-hmm. Do I see that as a gift? Mm-hmm. When we go shopping, do we see that as a gift? Mm-hmm. When we get in our car and drive do we see that as a gift? Because if we start recognizing the moments we have as gifts, we're going to steward them in a way that we would any other way.
Absolutely.
Because they're a gift. They're or let's use the word treasure or important or as an investment. And so and Jesus teaches that. I mean, all through the scriptures, He teaches that mentality of how we look at life. And that's why Paul says, be very careful how you live. Because he is fully aware that there's distractions, there's things that'll get our attention. Yes. Be very careful. It's almost like he's saying, hey, there's so much out there to rob you of your present.
Yes.
Be careful. Because it's easy to go down. Man, it is so stinking easy to go down those rabbit trails. It's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to get sidetracked. And so he says, be very careful. In other words, we get to judge that. We get to, that's why he says,
manage that.
Yeah, manage that. Yes. That's why he says, you be very careful how you live. Because he's saying, hey, manage what you have well.
Yes.
Be careful, because there's so many things that are going to fill your plate that it's going to exhaust you, and you're not going to be good at anything because you're just dialing out all over the place. And time again, we come to a place of burnout, and we just don't want to do anything. We drop all things. And so he says, be very careful how you live.
Yeah.
Be wise and not unwise. So there again is making assessments, making decisions. Yeah. And this is the neat thing, because Holy Spirit can come alongside these aspects and give us the wisdom that we need and the understanding and the empowerment to say no, empowerment to take some things off our plate.
And I think one of the things, like even the word anxious, it means distractions, and just everything is distracting and just hollering at you, and it makes you anxious. And normally it is something from the past or the future that you can't control.
Right.
And so when you're feeling that anxiety, I think is when you're aware of it, saying, oh, I'm not living in the moment.
I think that's important. We need to be aware. So sometimes it's just asking God, help us to be aware. Because once we're aware, because sometimes the pattern is just such a routine, we're not always aware of stuff. But when you're aware, and so sometimes that's the key. It's just allowing yourself to be aware of the busyness so that you can be careful and manage that moment to the best. And when God is for you, those bests become reality. And that's important to understand that, because we're not aiming for the ideals. We're aiming to manage what's in front of us.
Yes, and whether good or bad, like every moment that's in front of it, that's what you have.
Yes.
And God is present, even if your moment right now might be negative. He is present. So just know that God is present with you in your moment, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's leave you. We're coming to our 30-minute mark, and again, we appreciate your time.
Yeah.
We're going to leave you with 3 quick summary points to help you manage those moments well.
Yep.
Because that's what we want to do. We want to manage moments well.
Yes.
We're not going to get everything perfect. Like, get that out of our mind right now.
Yep.
We're going to fail. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to over this and over that. We're going to get affected by past and future. So these are just tools that we can give you in summary form that will help you manage those moments so that you can be wise and not unwise. By saying that, he's believing the best in us.
Yes.
Because it's an opportunity. We get to decide.
Yes.
So the 3 tools that we want to leave you quickly are, first of all, we have to learn to say no.
Did you hear that?
Learn.
No is a good word.
Sometimes I get myself in trouble and someone tells me, well, why did you agree to it then? Why didn't you say no? Because I didn't want to offend somebody, or I didn't want to leave someone hanging. And and you live with all these what ifs again.
Expectations.
But the reality is, if I don't know how to say no, all what those opportunities get are just a little piece of me.
Yeah, and it robs you of enjoying
the
life.
Moment.
Yes.
Because I get stressed out, I ever get overwhelmed, I just get to the point where then I don't want to do anything. I've been there many times in my life. I'm just done. I'm not doing anything. I've often said, I just not cut out the pastor. This is done. I'm finished. And it's not because of what I do. It's because I haven't managed the moments that I've been given, and I just get overspent. So learn to say no. Yes. It's okay. You know what? Sorry. I would love to do it.
Practice.
I can't do it. Stand in front of the mirror and practice. No. Sorry, I can't do that.
Yes.
There's a difference going not on your life to saying, you know what? I just really have to guard some of my time.
Yes.
I would love to be involved in that project. I'd love to do that for you. I just have to say no.
Yes.
You know what? Who cares if they're not happy with it? So what? That's their issue.
Yes.
But you're learning to manage your moments.
Yeah, I like that.
So learn to say no.
Yeah.
The second thing is the learn thing again. The second thing is learn to live simply. Yes. Slow your life down.
Yes.
Learn to live simply.
Yes.
Do you know what? It doesn't always have to be in order. It doesn't always have to be neat and tidy. People in your life are going to make things messy.
Yes.
Because they're not like you. They're not like me.
Yeah.
But when we learn to relax and learn to live simply, and simply doesn't mean I want to learn to live on $1 a day. I mean simply as we complicate things by so much stuff in our life.
Yeah.
So the second thing is learn to live.
Yes.
Learn to simplify your life.
Yes. And I have written down here, minimalism forces you to live in the present. It forces you. You're taking stuff off. Okay, we've done that actually with our life in the last few years of even financially, different things. To live simply actually frees you to enjoy life.
Absolutely.
It really does.
That's the second thing. And the third thing, this is, and when I say that, some people are going to go, oh, whatever, that's not, but I say this because it's an important tool. It's really important. Make room or make time for yourself. You're important. I'm important. If I overextend myself, I'm no good to myself, no other people around me.
Exactly.
So we have to learn to make room for us. Make room for me. Make room for you. We've got to learn to let go of some baggage that keeps dragging behind us as we're moving forward.
Yes. Yeah. That is good.
Yeah, so again, we would encourage you that if you like what you hear, we encourage you to share it with people. Hit the share button. That's great. Again, I just want to say, if you're interested in a copy of Faith Reconstruction, we want to make those available. We had a shipment coming in, and we would love to send it out to you. Or if you're in the Estevan area, to come pick one up. That would be awesome. We would love for that. So thank you again for joining us. Hope this has been some kind of hope for you and give you some tools. And we're looking forward to see you next Wednesday at 7:30 as well on Table Talk.
Have a great night, everyone.
Have a great night, everyone. Bye-bye.